What was that profound thing you were about to say before the battery died?
Yeah.
That's going to go at the beginning of this video. We've been getting so many questions from people, and there are a handful that we just get over and over and over again. And we've realised that while we may have covered a lot of these in the blog and the website and in articles and our, how we chose to live in an RV stories, we haven't done it here on YouTube for you guys. I mean, it's hard to remember what's where sometimes. So we thought, let's just sit down and just have a conversation and just be very casual and share how it all began. And here we are talking today about how we decided to live in an RV. And being the middle of October, this is the exact same weekend 3 years ago that we came up with this idea to live in an RV, or at least had the first thought, the first comment, the first mention of it to even open up a much bigger conversation that has now led to this life that we've been living for over 2 years.
It's really fun, exciting to think back to that moment, when we both had this thought, could we do that? And you just start asking questions on with the viability and with whether or not it's possible, and you start getting all these yes answers, and the next thing you know, you're making big plans.
So it was a Friday night. We were both sitting down in our stick and brick home and it was getting cool because it was fall in Colorado, and we decided to sit down and start thinking and talking and planning about what we wanted in our life for the years ahead.
Yeah, and so one of the things we did was we'd like to do vision boards, and so we put together, if you're not familiar with what vision boards are, it's when you gather a bunch of photos and you put them on a board that you would look at frequently to help you envision this new future item, whether it be a new car or a new skateboard or bicycle or a trip or a partner,
computer,
love,
camera,
any kind of thing. And sometimes it's words and sometimes it's pictures, and
sometimes it's a fefeeling and an experience you want. Like sometimes you might want more peace or more happiness.
So we started this exercise of doing the vision board, and we're doing it on Pinterest, being digital minded. So we started putting together all these Pinterest pictures, and
you can see here a bit of an idea of what our Pinterest board looks like in the background. We just basically did a search on all of the words, all of the things we could think of places we wanted to go, things we wanted to do, experiences we wanted to have, things that we wanted.
And we started looking at this board that we were creating and realized that everything was experiential. It was all travel and experiences and feelings and places to go and things to see, and not at all about material possessions. And so when we had that realization, it was a real aha moment for us, and that we need to make some decisions that'll put more travel and more experiences and places into our life.
Those things that we used to have on our vision boards in the past weren't there. It was just, it was so clear. Like, what we really want is travel and experiences and freedom, to be able to embrace those. And how can we do that? Because that's the kind of person that I am, I've always been. It's like, well, how do I make what I want in my life to happen now or sooner? And that's kind of just my MO, how I always tend to do things.
That's when it really opened up a bigger dialogue about what it is we want. And a lot of the travel and places on there were European or although outside of the country, international travel. But at the time we had our dog Coda, and so we started thinking, well, all these other travel and places are really difficult with Coda, and so what other places can we go and what other travel can we experience while we still have her? Coda was almost 7 years old around the time, and we had just recently gone on a trip to Australia the previous year, and we were gone for a month, and just seeing how traumatic it was for her just was really sitting with me on doing the idea of international travel. It was hard on her, it was hard on me, and
we didn't want to leave her behind.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave her behind because she's kind of our baby. It was
she was our baby because we don't have kids, so she was our baby.
Yeah, and so sorry, it's a little emotional, but so that was a big consideration on this, and we kind of let it sit overnight. So I came down after breakfast and I said, Julie, what we forgot to put on that board last night was RVs.
It reminded us both of a couple of years earlier in 2011 when we were at a pizza restaurant in Colorado Springs, and there was a couple next to us who were clearly having a great time and enjoying life, and we got chatting to them, and it turns out they were from Florida, and they had, I don't know if they sold their homes, their big homes, or walked away from them, because
knowing what year it was, they could have just
2008,
lost their homes,
something like that, and they decided to just walk away from their big homes in Florida and buy an RV and go full time. And they were probably, I'd say, early mid 50s, something like that, and still working. I think he was a minister or something. I don't exactly recall, but they were really fun and telling us all about the lifestyle, and we just opened our eyes up to something that we had never really thought about or realized existed before. And that's what kind of made us realize this would be a great story to share with you guys, because if this is new to you, it's very easy for us now. We've been doing this for quite a while, but to forget that when you're new, that this is just mind-blowingly different way to live. It is a little crazy to some people, but to those of us doing it, of course, it's not. But
in your brain, you immediately think, oh my gosh, that's so crazy, and your brain will automatically try and shut it down as an idea.
Right.
And then says, oh, well, those RVs, those are hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can't really afford that. But that was what was really neat about when we started trying to find the pictures for it on Pinterest, is we'd inevitably end up on sites that had them for sale, and then we saw, oh my gosh, used, but
for much less than
oh my gosh, those are a fraction of what they thought they were.
Right.
And so that was like the first yes that we got. That was it was like, oh my God, this is not that unreachable. These are not that unaffordable. And so that really got me very excited right then, and because I'm like, okay, this is doable. Or you start thinking about all these ways that you can make it happen.
And you were working from home.
Yeah, and I was already working from home.
Another big piece of the puzzle.
And so once I saw that, I'm like, these are way more affordable than I originally thought they were, that started opening up all the other questions, and you start thinking about staying connected for work and connecting with other people and doing all these other things to make it happen. And that's when we started digging deeper into the research and started finding more and more yeses.
But in terms of who was the one driving that decision, and that's a pun intended.
Pun is intended.
Interestingly, because I'm Australian and I migrated here in 2008 to the States from Sydney, and I've done a lot more travel than Mark, international and domestic, but you were actually the one driving the bus.
Julie, I had traveled across the United States to a lot of the states with my previous job and business meetings in various states, but I'd never really got to immerse in them. But basically, my entire life, I lived in the Denver metro area of Colorado. I lived 40 years pretty much in that same area, all the way up until we hit the road. So once we had the yes on the potential affordability of it, then I started looking at the other aspect, and I just wanted to see if it was viable to stay connected on the road, because I was already working from home, and so I was used to not being in an office. But once I had the answer that I could try and work from the road, which is a whole other topic, really big topic, we're definitely not going to cover in this video.
Cover that in another video.
Cover another one. But once I had that yes, that it is possible to be connected remotely, then that all gates were open, because it was just trying to make it happen from that point, and I started driving and literally this thing forward. So excited! I was motivated to get out of the metro area where I was working, because though I hardly ever had to go to the office, there were still times that they'd be like, oh well, he's just down the street, let's ask him to come in, and I just wanted to close that door. And I just figured, if I can work from home, that yes, you can work remotely, then the whole question is, what is home? And if we can work from this home, then where is home? They have no idea of knowing whether I'm at that home or this other home or my parents' lake house or whatever, which I don't have a parents' lake house.
That would be nice,
but some people did. So.
It's like all these little messages that you suddenly, instead of your brain shutting it down, saying, oh no, I can't do that, I couldn't do that, it's too expensive, I couldn't afford it, my boss wouldn't let me, kind of stop that thinking and flipped a switch, where suddenly all of those throwaway comments had a deeper meaning, and it just kind of all adds up to, well, I can do this from anywhere. And just married up with that, meeting the couple in the RV and wanting to travel with our dog and enjoy experiences while we still had her. And
Yeah, it all
perfect
just very
storm, really.
serendipitously all came together. But it's being aware, it's watching for those things and seeing them. What was really important about when we had that yes is the realization that some of those yes statements and some of those little serendipitous items in your life and words from folks and comments from other people and signs were probably there for quite a bit longer, but just after that flip switches, you start seeing them. That, you know, a lot of people, they'll hear the no's and they'll focus on the no's, and if you're looking for reasons why it can happen, you'll probably find them. And we certainly did, and that was really a very big and exciting few months when we started getting all those yeses and started putting it all together. And it talks some more about it in other videos. But
Mark was driving it, but I was definitely on board. I had some concerns, but well, we both did.
We both did.
But we had to just navigate those step by step, and just one question, one concern at a time, just step by step, just address that and find the answer and go look for the answer that we wanted, really. Because we weren't looking for no's, we were looking for yeses, we were looking for all the ways to support our desire to say, well, this is what we really want to do, and well, yes, you can do this, and it might require a little bit of compromise or a bit of shifting or a bit of creativity or a bit, but there's always a way.
Absolutely.
And we were looking for those ways.
And we look for those ways, and if you do that, and that'd be how I would challenge to those folks who start questioning the viability of it and wondering if it's going to work for them, is look for how it can work for you.
Right.
And
in anything in life, not just RVing.
Yeah, true.
We just kept putting one foot in front of the other and researching and exploring, and we'll share more about that journey in future videos, because I think, you know, these are the kind of questions that people have and like to get the answers to, and we really, you know, love the idea of being able to share those answers here on YouTube with you guys. I think it was 8 months before we finally hit the road full time.
From the first little aha moment that night until we were driving down the road literally into the sunset.
Literally into the sunset. And even that aha moment was preceded 2 years earlier by a thought of some random people we met at a pizza restaurant. So that was kind of really where it first, but it even began before that. But there are whole other stories that we're not going to go into here today, because this is a long enough video right now. There's no time limit on this. It takes as long as it takes, and everyone's got different circumstances. There's no right or wrong way, but when you really want something, sometimes people are scared to let themselves want something. You know, suddenly you're scared to let yourself want something because, well, why should I be able to do that? Especially when there aren't other people around you in your life that are doing that or living that, it can be hard to make it a concrete kind of idea as opposed to some pie-in-the-sky dream. You can ground that dream, you know, and put some fire under it. But once we started seeing other people doing it and doing it successfully and doing it for 1, 2, 5, even 10 years. I mean, that just gave us a lot more confidence that this is really a thing. And this is a thing that people do, and a lot of people do, and do it well, and do it for a long time. And
now that we've been out here for a couple of years, we realize it's way bigger than we even thought. There's so many people out here living this lifestyle and still working. But those folks who aren't still working, of course, they don't have that additional challenge. But there's so many people out here doing this. We love it. We hope that you'll love it too.
And if you have any more questions too, just put them down in the comments. If you're having this question, then a whole lot of other people are having this question too. Just give us some more questions down below. See you later, guys.